Hello everyone, welcome back. This is RandoGEEK. In this video, we're going to talk about Dish Network. The link for this article will be down below in the description box for you to check it out if you'd like. What we're talking about is creditors that Dish Network does business with, accusing them of possibly defaulting on their loans. So here's what we're talking about. It looks like the creditors are looking into legal options, including sending Dish Network a default notice after it moved prized assets out of bondholders' reach. So this, of course, comes as Dish Network and EchoStar have merged together, placing all of Dish Network subsidiaries under the EchoStar umbrella. Of course, Dish has done this in order to raise as much capital as possible in order to pay down current debts that they owe, which is mountain high, and of course, continue to build out their 5G wireless network, which many of us would like to see happen. The issue here is, um, with them moving everything under, they're saying that, these creditors are going to have a hard time now being able to catch the money from Dish. So the question here is, will Dish try to, default on these loans, borrow once again against their spectrum, utilize that money? And, it's just a spiral of confusion here for all these creditors. That's why they're in fear that, rather than wait and try to figure it all out, they're ready to just summons them with a default notice and basically say, you better pay up now. So this is really interesting stuff. And it's very possible that Dish could be trying to pull a switch over these guys and trying to, keep as much of their money as possible. And then, not necessarily default, but buy themselves time. And if they could borrow against their spectrum, they can buy themselves time. And the argument here is many customers or just people in general feel like Dish hasn't really been playing by the rules ever since they started. They've been basically being favored by the FCC and the government, giving them too many passes, in which any other wireless carrier probably would have been axed already for all of the problems and disregards that they've already had. I mean, they've made a ton of mistakes financially, Dish, and that's the biggest concern here. Is why many of you listening to this video right now will probably say Dish is in a world of trouble. It's just a matter of time because they don't have the money, they don't have the proper assets to continue building out. That they won't be able to hang on long enough to see it through. Now, I think the EchoStar merger will definitely give them an edge, as I've mentioned before. Whether or not their intention here is to truly default on these loans, I don't know. They could be, as I said, trying to buy some time, borrow once again against their spectrum, move a bunch of things around and just buy time, pretty much like they're doing with the 800 megahertz in T-Mobile. They're just looking to buy time. They made a down payment as required in order to reach an agreement so that T-Mobile doesn't complain about it anymore, because T-Mobile has, constantly complained that they're losing money holding on to this spectrum when they could be selling it off. And T-Mobile is not wrong. Dish made a promise to purchase it. They haven't followed through. They have their reasons, of course, as does every carrier when it comes to coughing up money. So the idea here is that EchoStar will help them gain leverage, the capital that they need, and they can kind of, like I said, pay down their debts, continue their build out, and move on with it and prosper and grow, right, as a company. So this is very possible that it can happen here. But this subject here with the creditors will be very interesting to see how this plays out. I'm sure there's going to be more updates regarding this. I'd like to know your thoughts down below. Do you think this was Dish's intention? Is this part of why they want to consolidate everything so it's easier to try to get away with it? They can, they can kind of maneuver things more in an easier way for them to pay less, to buy time. It's tricky stuff. It's really tricky stuff. It's really hard to know what their actual motive here is with this. Maybe these creditors are just, they have a right to be afraid. There's tons and tons of money that Dish owes. So of course they want to be paid back, as any creditor would like. Otherwise, the default notice goes against them. I don't know if Dish really wants to play that game. It could play out in court. It could cost them a lot more money in the long run. They will ultimately most likely be found guilty because this is their debt. There's no way running from it. So I don't know. Interesting stuff here, though. Wanted to share it with you. Of course, I'd like to know your opinions down below. Feel free to leave a comment if you'd like. As always, thank you guys so much for stopping by and watching. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.